Welcome, everyone. Today, I will talk to a remarkable woman. Her name is Dr. Rhonda Millikin, and she made Canada proud in April 2024 as the winner in her age category of the 50-kilometer classic ski World Loppet in Iceland. Yes, she did that. Let's take a look at a picture of her.
This is the award ceremony in Isidore, the West Island or West Fields of Iceland. And this was when I was shocked to get the first for my age group.
So that's why I'm so excited to talk to her today about her inspirational journey of fearlessness in the face of a health scare that actually potentially could have undermined her participation in this marathon. You'll definitely want to stick around for it because it's a story of resilience, determination, and triumph, frankly, that has defined her ever since I've known her. So let's get right into it. Welcome, Rhonda.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be part of your podcast series, Isme. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, well, thanks. Tell me, how's the weather in Whistler right now?
Well, very tempting to get up the mountain if I was allowed to. Just recovering from surgery, so not
No.
just yet, but it is gorgeous.
Okay, just by way of background, Rhonda, I just want to tell people that Rhonda and I went to Maryville High School in Ottawa. And I did a back of the envelope calculation, and that was 52 years ago. Can you believe it?
No, definitely cannot. Feels like yesterday, and you don't look any different.
Well, neither do you. So it's a good thing. And then we went to Carleton University, where we both did biology. And I think after that, I stuck around to do the honors degree, which was the 4-year program. But you got a really amazing job in Sault Ste. Marie. Where was that job?
Yes, that was with the Canadian Forestry Service, what they were called at the time, Natural Resources Canada now. And it was an opportunity to get started in forest ecology. And that was actually inspired because one of the professors, I'd taken a little jaunt over to SFU and was thinking of doing a master's in pest management. And then got offered this job, and the professor there said, why don't you take the job? You can always come back and study. And it was such good advice that I thank that professor to today.
And so you did go on and study. You did a master's. Where did you do your master's and in what?
I did my master's as part of my job with Forestry Canada. It was a wonderful opportunity thanks to an amazing director of the Institute. And I was studying the impact of phenyltrethione, organophosphates in our forest systems, and they were being used to control a pest insect. But my hypothesis was that it was killing too many of the beneficial invertebrates that birds need. And so I was able to show with color banding individual birds that it was actually killing the young. And that was evidence enough for my director to support me and remove phenyltrethione from use in Canada.
Wow, that's pretty neat. And, there are too many accomplishments that you've had, really incredible and amazing accomplishments. And we'll probably have to have you back here to talk about all of them. But today we're just going to focus in on her latest achievement. And so, okay, after the master's, you actually went and did your PhD in physics, no less. Yeah, and what was that all about?
Well, I was at that point working for Canadian Wildlife Service and responsible for 254 species of songbirds throughout BC and the Yukon, and I had a budget of $15,000. So I needed to make it an efficient way of monitoring these, and started playing around with radar and acoustics, and then realized I needed to fuse these two systems, but I couldn't find any engineering company that was willing to take that on. So I said, okay, well, I guess I have to do it myself. And then went to the military and proposed it as something that they might be able to use, which in fact they did use. I got 2 patents from that work, and they used that, jumping ahead in time. But so that's what I did. I went into the physics department and did a PhD.
So you did that PhD, and you know what? You made my parents really proud. You know, you're the daughter that they didn't have because they were hoping I would do the PhD, and I didn't. But anyway, that aside, let's get back to the topic of the day, which is that 50-kilometer Loppet. You know, I had to look up what Loppet meant because, you know, I Googled it just to see because I'd never heard of that word. Maybe you can explain to the viewers what is a Loppet?
Yes, it's an inspirational group of cross country skiers. It's the World Loppet Federation, and I think it was incorporated in 1978. And so the idea is that you can do races across over the world. You need to do a race in 10 different countries involving a different continent to be able to win a gold medal as a master cross-country skier, master Loppet participant. And so I've done 5, and well, Iceland was my 5th, and I am bent and determined to finish the 10 before I'm 70.
Wow. So that's what got you interested in doing this particular one in Iceland, right?
Yeah, I had met an incredible man called Jack Rabbit Johansson when I started my job in Sault Ste. Marie. I was volunteering with the Stokely Creek cross country ski group, and this was in the 80s, and he was 100 at that point, over 100 at 106. He lived to 111, and he looked like he was 60. And I thought, okay, I want to do whatever he's doing. And it looked like a lot of fun. And so I started cross country skiing there, and was lucky enough to win a race with Stokely Creek. And they got me a ticket to the Norwegian Berkbeiner. And that was the first World Loppet that I did. And you get a little passport. And so then I went on and did a few others after that. But mostly it gives you a chance to travel somewhere, be immersed in the culture, and be doing something you love to do with other like-minded people.
Mhm. And so you mentioned about the age category, or you had talked to me earlier about the age category. What was that age category?
It was 60 to 68. And
Okay.
I just had my birthday. Well, let's see, 4 days before the race.
And I think we're about the same age. So what's your age, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no, I'm the advanced age, mature age of 68 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so part of what I was saying, joking with friends, saying, you know what, it pays to hang in there.
You bet.
You
You
never know, if you stay around long enough, you're bound to win something.
bet. Well, yeah, you got to put your hat in the ring, though, right? And so I want to know what did you have to do to prepare for this?
Well, it ended up being 2 years of training. I initially wanted to do the race last year, but I had eye surgery, so I wasn't able to fly. And probably just as well, because it gave me a chance to do this amazing race in alpine race in Whistler, which is called the Peak de Valley 170 slalom gates. So I got to do that because I wasn't going to be focused on cross country skiing. But so I started training 2 years ago, and then what it involved this year, I finally learned that one needs to diversify their training. And I had a bursitis in my left heel from overtraining, climbing 1,600 meters, and then 2 hours skiing after that. So I started doing spin classes and weight training, various other things. So diversified that, had a great acupuncturist, massage therapist, physiotherapist, and lots of support from friends and family. And so that was the physical side, but then it's really important to get the nutrition. And I've always eaten quite well, but I now focus a lot more on electrolytes and carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrates for energy, and make sure that I'm fueling myself all along the way, and don't wait till the end and try and make it up. And then I go to bed at 9:30, and so I can get up at 5:30 and be inspired from there. So it's a lot of discipline. And before the race itself, a month and a half, I stopped having any alcohol. Not that I drank a lot, but just no alcohol, no inflammatory foods, so no dairy, no sugar, and to manage all of these tendon issues that one gets with overtraining, and that seemed to really, really help. And
But Rhonda, from what I remember, you were always athletic. You always ate well. And I guess maybe in the training part of it, you tell me if I'm wrong, you had to step up your game as far as the nutritional piece and all of that, right? Am I correct?
yes, and I'm lucky enough to have a sister-in-law who's a sports nutritionist. And so she advised me that I need to have an energy gel, which if you weren't working out, it tastes terrible because it's so sweet. If you're it's good sugars, but it's still sweet. So I have an energy gel every hour when I'm training and in the event itself. And then I roll my feet, I massage, roll my calves. I make sure that I limber up, because the older we get, the more we need to work on flexibility and balance. And
Right
so,
on, right on. And so, given all of this training and nutrition, I would have thought that, you wouldn't have any major health issues, but I guess the point of all this is it doesn't matter if you've done everything right. Health issues show up, can show up. This is why nowadays they're talking about not prevention per se, but they're talking about risk reduction. And anyways, what was this health scare all about?
yeah, I I think it was a lot related to stress. And I had both my parents died of cancer. I was going through a pretty tough negotiation process for a separation, 4.5 years, and had made a decision to just complete that. So I didn't get cancer. And on the 14th of February of this year, I signed the consent agreement and became sole owner of Whistler, my cabin, and which was my goal, my one thing I really wanted to have happen. And then the same day, I got a call from the doctor saying the results came in with the ultrasound, and I had a huge mass in my abdomen that they thought was contained, but would not know until I did further testing, blood tests, CT scans, etc. So it was a bit of a, oh no, I thought I got out of this stress soon enough, but perhaps I'm sure the stress was a contributor.
So,
And
so let me ask you the next question, which is, you found out about the mass. What happened when you found out that this could completely undermine you going to Iceland?
yeah, the first thing was to check with the doctor that it was a possibility to still go. Uh, so when I was given the options of what we could do to get this, I was calling it my alien, get the alien out, uh, she was, I said to her, I have this race in Iceland and I would really love to do it. If you tell me not to, I won't, but I'd like to. And she said, you could sit and watch your life pass you by, or you could participate. If I were you, I'd do it. So
Wow,
that's what I
that's kind
did.
of interesting. I guess she must have done the risk-benefit calculus, and
I think
yeah, that you could go ahead and do that. But interestingly, how big was this mass?
it was 13 centimeters by 10 by 6. So I'm not a huge person. It was palpable. You could feel it. You could almost see it. And it was contained in the ovary. Uh, the gynecologist surgeon did a very thorough topical exam and said, yeah, I don't think it's left the ovary. I think it's still contained. Your risk is that you won't be able to get health insurance when you travel. Your second risk is if you fall, you could detach it, and then you've got emergency surgery, and that's not going to be pretty.
Mhm.
So that was what she said to me. And I weighed that and said, yeah, I'll probably, I mean, you always fall when you're in competitive sport, but competitive skiing anyways. So I thought, well, I'm willing to take that risk.
Well,
And
I really want to drill down into your inner psychological landscape when the doctor gave you the go-ahead. What were the emotions going on? Weren't you still scared of taking the decision on?
definitely, I was, there are so many potential roadblocks that one can focus on. And I was choosing to not voice negative. I was only voicing the opportunity and feeling grateful for the fitness I had and the determination I had. So I think the major factor for me was, yes, I was scared, but this was something I said I would do, and so I'm going to do it. And yes, I have injuries. Yes, I've got the same uh, lung thing that went around. There are so many reasons one could say, and I did joke about that. Oh, the bad news is, so the good news is, blah, blah, seems to be contained. Bad news is, I'm actually going to have to do this race. That's what I was joking about.
What do you
She
mean?
didn't give
What
me
did
an
you?
ex,
Oh, I see. I
yeah,
see.
she
Because
didn't
she
give me an
gave you the green
excuse.
light.
Exactly. So that I can't use that excuse. And and then I was joking, well, okay, now I got to carry this 50 for 50 kilometers. I got to carry this alien the whole way with me. So Yeah, I was just trying to find the funny in things and focus on the opportunity.
So how
Yeah.
did you keep your mind from going into that negative arena? We all have that. I mean, I struggle with fear, fear of success, fear of failure, fear of disease, fear of suffering. The only thing I don't fear is death because you don't have to worry about anything. But yeah, so how did you keep that mindset?
Well, it did fluctuate. I almost quit. Well, I wanted to quit twice during the race, and um, had to really bring down my expectations. So I wasn't going to race this one. I'd had a very bad outcome from the last one, which was almost a decade before this. So I'm almost a decade older. I've had, these chronic injuries just because with age things happen. And I just said, okay, I'm eventing this, in quotes, eventing. I'm not racing this one. So I want to finish it. Yeah, in my mind at the start line, I didn't know I would finish it. I was kind of thinking I might not. The conditions were horrendous.
Yeah, so tell me more about the race as you entered midway through until the end. What were the
Yeah,
challenges along the way?
yeah, there were 270 participants in this particular category. So you could do different skiing distances and things. But for the gold medal World Loppet, you need to do at least 50 kilometers, and they're classic ski races. So there were 270 people registered, and I was not going to race it. I placed myself so all the faster people could go in front, but I was in front of, what I figured were people that I would have to, work to pass. So I'd rather be in the right position. And I just put my head down and first 10 kilometers climbed and didn't let my heart rate get up too high. And then on the plateau, I just, every time the conditions were grueling. The rain was, pelting you in the face. I was soaked to the bone. The winds were knocking me off the course, and but you just kind of try and slow everything down and find the zen, and that's what that was beautiful. I'm up there and I'm feeling like I'm in Iceland. This is gorgeous. I'm skiing with Scandinavians. I have such respect for them. If I wasn't born Canadian, I would want to be born Norwegian. And I just I slowed it down. It felt like dance. It was a zen. And that's when I could get out of my negative thinking, and I'm going to enjoy this.
So is that flow state that they talk about, runners get into this, creative people, and so on? You were in that?
Yeah, I kept bringing it back to being thinking about technique and the beauty of the technique. What do I need to do? Slip my foot into the slipper, keep my weight in the right place, just really small things it's a beautiful technique that does take a long time to perfect. And I'm still working at it. So that's what I was doing, and not focusing on the elements. Like, I'd love to have been looking at the landscape, but you couldn't see a bloody thing. It was total whiteout. And so, you'd go down the tracks with your skis in the tracks thinking, I really hope they did a good job of this because I can't even see the tracks.
Oh, wow. Wow. So when did you realize that you had won?
Oh, that was at this cake ceremony they have afterwards, and I was yakking with a bunch of people, just really enjoying meeting others from around the world. And then I look up and on the screen, it says #1, Rhonda Millikin. I'm like, what? It's me.
Can we
So,
see the picture of you with the award in hand?
yes, certainly. Shall I just
You
step
might,
aside?
yeah, you might have to step aside and
Okay.
become
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
ghostly.
Let me just pull that up. Okay, that's it right there. I don't know. Can you see
Yes,
it?
I can. Yes, I can.
So
Yeah,
you
that's
can see
your
this smile on my face. I
definitely.
was, you can't see that I'm also crying.
Oh, I can
So I
imagine.
was just so pleased. Yeah, it was totally unexpected. So, yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, yeah. And I think if we set ourselves goals, then, um, no matter whether we actually do what we initially planned on doing, we're we're on our way to doing something beautiful. So
That is true. That is true. And so you you got the award, you had to come back to Whistler, and then when was your operation?
so I got back on the 24th and the operation was on the 30th of
That's
April,
oh wow.
6 days later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you had no problem transitioning from that mode to I got to be in an operation on the table.
Well, call it naivety. I had no idea what I was getting into until they opened the doors to the operating room, and I'm looking at the gurney on a 45-degree angle with those bloody stirrups, which is,
No one
yikes.
loves.
Every woman hates those stirrups. And I'm like, wow, there are 6 people and there all these lights are on this table and I'm going to have to be upside down in this bed. So, and yeah, and I was talking to the anesthetist saying, I want to tell you when I'm totally under because I'm really squeamish. I don't want to be experienced. He said, oh no.
And so once you got the mass taken out, which was what, two weeks ago?
Yes.
And I found this out by calling her. I was just calling her to, congratulate her and say, boy, I would love to have you on this podcast. And I found out all about the health scare, and I thought, you know what? I thought she was inspirational, but she is next level. So I told her, we'll give you, 6 weeks to get better. And she said, no, no, I can do it next week. Well, now is next week. So, yeah, just a remarkable woman with so much courage. It's incredible. So, okay, so you get this mass removed, and then obviously they must have looked to see what was going on with that mass.
Yeah. And at on Friday, so what are we, Wednesday? Yeah, so on Friday, my GP called me like 6 o'clock at night and said, can I give you some good news? And I said, sure. And she said, no cancer. And I
Woohoo! That's
had no idea how much it was stressing me until
Mhm.
she told me that. And
Wow.
yeah, so I'm so relieved.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes. And so am I, being
Yes.
your friend and connected to you. Yeah, I'm also relieved that you got that outcome. And I think, the basic thing of you really taking care of your health all the way through, um, when these things happen, which they happen out of the blue, it really helps to have a fit, body and mind to handle these things, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think, well, who knows? One can't do, as you know, as a scientist who is me, one can't do an experiment on themselves, but there's no replicate. But I do believe that my background health was a lot to do with why I did okay. And yeah, it was funny. The gynecologist surgeon said to me, "Well, normally I tell my patients they need to lose some weight and get more activity." She said, "In your case, it's the opposite.
Right,
You might want to put on a little bit of weight and slow down."
right. Yeah, yeah.
So
But I
yeah,
think
I
it's
think,
part of your makeup to move the body and move the mind continuously, keep learning, keep curious. I, you know,
yeah,
I know that's who you are.
yeah. No, I do. I think you're totally right that one of the gifts of this whole scare was that I had to slow down, and I'm still experiencing that I have to slow down again. There were some complications, but with the slowing down, I'm having more chance to deeply connect with family and friends, and really appreciate how important it is to have the energy. And I'm not sure how everyone feels about this, but I certainly, when I was in the middle of that race and I felt like I wanted to quit, I felt like my sister was right there with me saying, "You're going to make it, you're going to do it." And I just really believe in the transfer of energy across space. And
So do I, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, so I've been so lucky to have my community step up and do grocery shopping for me and this and that and check in. And then I've been feeling very creative because I have this energy that I would maybe normally be out running on a trail, and now I'm thinking about things and writing things. And so there,
You're
the,
actually channeling that energy into other areas, other aspects of your own self, really.
yeah, and it's an interesting learning that, and friends have joked to me that I should, I never see you sitting on a couch. And so might not sit on the couch so much, but I certainly will sit on the deck chair.
That's one of
And
my problems too. Even if I am sitting on a couch, it'll be for about 15 minutes and then I have to get up and do something. So, I understand that issue
yeah,
very well. But
yeah.
I'm really, really grateful that you got through this, challenge and certainly for your uh, triumph over fear. And the whole story is really inspiring to me. And my takeaway from just listening to you is that it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to what happens. And you responded with such stoicism. I mean, it's really difficult to cultivate that, but somehow you did. I don't know how. We'll try and figure that out and see if we can implement it in our own lives. But also, what also learned from your story is that when you are dedicated and disciplined and overcome a bunch of obstacles, are willing to do that, then you can actually manifest the goals you were talking about that you set up for yourself. At least it's highly probable that you're going to manifest that goal. And, that's exactly what you did. The other thing that comes to mind is that, there was a calculated risk that you took, which is sensible. You don't want to do something, if the doctor said, hey, I don't recommend it, well, You might have said, well, I'm going anyway. Well, I don't know how sensible that would have been, but even with that calculated risk, there was still fear. And you were able to feel that fear and do it anyway, as the book says. And the final piece, that's my takeaway, is that victory is on the other side of fear. And that's what you've demonstrated to all of us by your journey. And I thank you so much for that, Rhonda.
Thank you, Isme. This is it's been such an opportunity. I'd love to be able to share this with you and see you experiencing and creating something like this, a podcast. It's fantastic. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I think we need to share with one another. We need to build communities of just, you know, regular people. I mean, you're a friend of mine from way back. We don't have to go and look at celebrities and what they're doing. We have celebrities right in our vicinity. We've got just regular folk doing extraordinary things. And I just want to bring all those kinds of stories, to people because, yeah, but I've got to say, though, little caveat, you are extraordinary. You're not ordinary by any stretch. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much. And I hope all you viewers out there got something out of this. I know she's going to help me with my struggles with fear, making me push the boundaries a little bit to be fearless. And if you like this content, let us know by pressing that like button and subscribe. It's free. I'll have more of these kinds of stories as well as other things on health, well-being, relationships. We'll see. I'm just interested in so many things. So, and if you have done things like Rhonda and would like to tell us, we'd like to hear about it because, this is what this channel is all about. It's about learning from some people and then being able to share that with others and everyone sharing it with us as well. What kind of challenges you might have faced and you overcame, that would be really, really interesting to know. So thanks again, everybody, for watching, and bye for now.